Hello, I'm Ivan Navi. This is Ivan Reacts, and for the last time, what time is it? It's adventure time. Today I'm gonna look back at the final episode of Adventure Time. I'm not gonna do a whole explain what happens, but I am probably gonna touch on some stuff that if you haven't seen the episode will spoil it for you. So, spoiler warnings here. If you don't want to be spoiled, you can watch this video later. What do I think of the final episode? Honestly, it was well done. It was I dare say beautiful. This series has been on for 10 years. 9 seasons, 10 years, about that. And it created its own world, its own fantasy setting, its own series of characters and everything. It's done a lot in those years. If you told me this silly show about this kid going on adventures with this stretch dog was going to go dark, was going to make me feel sympathetic for this Ice King, touch on issues of abuse and abandonment, I honestly wouldn't believe you, but that's what we got over the course of 10 years. The Ice King, this goofy, off kilter villain, he's one of the most sympathetic characters in cartoons today because we learned about Simon Petroglyph. Um, Jake, he became a dad, and though we don't touch upon that a lot, we have seen episodes where he's connecting with his kids. Finn lost an arm. It's been foreshadowed for a long time, but when it happens for real, it's because of his own dad leaving him. Finn gets to meet his mom, who's a computer programmer at this point. We learn Jake isn't exactly a dog, but a creature from another dimension, part dog. There was a lot of stuff has happened that I wouldn't have expected. And the final gave us a lot of closure. It closed up a lot of loose ends. Uh, the big major point, the starting of this, was the Gumball War between Princess Bubblegum and her uncle G. We, because of Finn's actions, they see from each other's points of view. The fact that her uncle did have a dream for the Candy Kingdom, but it just was turned into like a punch bowl by Bubblegum, and seems to have been aware of this whole thing this for centuries, but unable to express those ideas because of her actions. And meanwhile, Princess Bubblegum's been burdened with stress, responsibility, and it's gotten to her. So for a moment, they get to see each other's from each other's point of views. He gets turned into a punch bowl again because, as Saran explains, he's not the Epiphany kind, but she understands. So, resolution, no war. And then we get a demon. Not like the demons we've seen, we see Gulp, the embodiment of chaos. Betty, Simon's girlfriend, who was brought back from the past to try to say goodbye, and who's been trying to save him and who's gone insane now, summoned him. And Normal Man, formerly that wacky magic man, is trying to stop her. This is when stuff gets serious. They can't stop Gulp. He is potentially the most powerful being in this universe. And he swallows up Betty's Ice King and Finn. And this just goes to show that, oddly enough, Simon is possibly the strongest candidate for a father figure in Finn's life. Not counting, Martin, his biological father, or his brothers, Jermaine or Jake, or, his dog dad. No, because while they're trapped inside, the Gulp breaks them down to their base components. For Finn, he's already has his base components. Betty loses the insanity and the magic she got, and the Ice Crown stops working on Simon, and he reverts back to the Ice King back to Simon Petroglyph. Finn is being against the walls, trying to get out, and he remorsefully says, "I always thought I'd go out saving someone." And Simon says, "We can't choose the way we go out, but at least we're here together." And remember, these guys started off as villains, opposing forces. And Finn, over time, made friends with him because he saw how sad he could be, how damaged he was, how he was just a lost man. And all this time, the monsters of Golb are destroying the Candy Kingdom. They're destroying everything. Their forces, their allies, are getting messed up. Some weird stuff happens with the Lemon and Lumpy Space Princess, but nonetheless, a, a moment for a lot of fans is Marceline goes berserk when she thinks Bubblegum is dead, and they say they care each other when they find out she's not, and they kiss on Cartoon Network. So, yay, equality, but it doesn't mean that much to me because for the last 5 seasons, I've assumed they've already been dating and they just couldn't get past the censors. So it's at least nice to get it out there officially. So yeah, it's nice. BMO, who acts pretty much like a little child this whole time. Well, Jake gets super upset when the treehouse or home gets destroyed, and BMO takes up the role as the father, Papa, and picks up the scared Jake and sings him. Turns out harmony, music, is the creature's weakness. Harmony versus discord. So, yay, that's good. They're able to beat him back, and Simon and Finn are able to escape. Simon now reverting to the Ice King. Betty stays behind with the crown and uses its power to try to drive Golb away. But the crown's power is second to this demon. Ultimately, she seems to sacrifice herself to take control of the monster and leaves. Simon is pretty devastated. He lost Betty once before, and it's happening again. Though he gets to keep his sanity, he lost her. And as for the Ice Crown, Gunther picks it up and apparently makes a wish to be the Ice King, or the crown's power reverted back to how it was. It's vague, but either way would result something like this. So no one's really questioning it. And it ends. That's this entire episode. This entire story was held together by a framing device. Somewhere in the far future, BMO is telling a story to the two adventures, and when the two new adventures, and when they ask him, "I thought this was the end of Ooh. I thought that's the story you were telling us." And BMO says something like, "I did. That things were never the same after this. But what happened to all Finn, Jake, everyone?" And BMO says, "They lived their lives. They had more adventures. It continued on." Which goes to a lot of statements. A testament to what the theme song says, the fun will never end. As the two adventurers go out, they find a tree. In the episode, Finn's evil double ganger got redeemed by Finn, saved, but ultimately he died. His last wish being that he was planted where the treehouse was. The treehouse and the tree grew. It's been centuries. It's huge. It's above the clouds. And the adventurers climb up there and find Finn's sword. And they held it up and basically do the title card. The story never ends. The fun never stops. And as we go back to the past, present, whatever, Finn and Jake are just chilling out, happy that it had a happy ending. The song Ho sings the end credits, which is so fitting. And then we get glimpses of most of the major characters and what they've been doing. Finn. Okay, let's start with Jake's kids. TV's been a little lost. She's starting a detective agency, just like her grandparents. Her siblings are all helping her fix up that old building and get her started, and she seems like she's happy. Bubblegum and Marceline are kind of confirmed. They're cuddling up with the new Ice King is using his magic powers to tell them a story. Meanwhile, Simon is with Turtle Princess making popcorn. Turtle Princess married the new Ice King. Well, it's like weird, but okay. Alright, what else? Bubblegum and her aunt are ruling the Candy Kingdom together, singing a song to her brother. So yeah, she's some of the pressure has been taken off of her, some of the responsibility. So yeah, it's good. Lumpy Space Princess takes up the crown as the new queen of the Lumpy Space. A Huntress Wizard is at calm. She's at peace. We see that little Sweet Pea. He graduates, and in the future vision, we get to see that he's still alive centuries in the future. He's a giant exploring the world and looks like an adventurer like Billy before him. Um, what else? Susan and her friend, whose name escapes me, are exploring the world. Where that little lemon kid that from seasons ago is still exploring the world. Um, but my favorite one, my favorite little glimpse, is that at the beach, Finn and Jake are having fun when they see several ships coming. They're filled with humans, including a big screen projecting Finn's mom. Finn started the series as the last human. Throughout the series, we've sensed loneliness with him, sadness. He's been alone. He's the last of his kind. And he's been trying to wrap his mind around it, try and get used to what that means. But now he's not alone. He's not the last human anymore, which I like that. It was honestly a good story. It gave us closure for most of the plot lines. We did see Simon is trying to find Betty, trying to go to Prismo, trying to find her, trying to save her. There is a few things that are still open, which frankly it's fine. The adventure never ends. Stuff is gonna keep going, like BMO said. It doesn't end right there. We got plenty of callbacks, little visuals, little sight gags, little things through over the 10 years. So little for the longtime fans to point out in the spot. So that was fun. It was a good closing. It was emotional. It was a good story. There's nothing really to complain about. What the only complaints I hear is that no one gave a definite explanation if Finn got any romance at the end. Was he with Huntress Wizard, Fire Princess? A few fans are annoyed about that, which I'm fine with because I just assume something's happening with Huntress Wizard. Plus, the show does continue on in the comics, Adventure Time Season 11 from Boom Studios. So check them out when they come out because they are going to continue the stories. Those stories have been more playful, episodic, because while the show was going on, they couldn't do the plot lines. And so now they have full control. They might be able to do their own story, their own arc. So hopefully we'll get to see some closure there. So that's the end. It was a good closing. It was a good ending. And it's been a show that's lasted for 10 years. I've been a fan since nearly the start. And it is sad to say goodbye, but like the show said, the adventure never ends. Fun's never going to stop. And it just keeps going and going. Which is a good message in your life to carry with you. Just stuff never really ends. It just starts a new thing. Alright. I'm going to go off and see if I can find a real Finn hat. So thank you for watching. My links are down below, and have your own adventure.